The holographic display flickered to life in the grand amphitheater of the Galactic Academy, casting azure light across thousands of eager faces from dozens of species. Zixta, a young Krillian scholar with iridescent scales and 4 optical sensors, settled into his seat with barely contained excitement. Today was the day of the release of the updated Apex species rankings, a comprehensive analysis conducted once every stellar cycle by the Academy's most prestigious xenobiologists. "This is it," Zixta whispered to his companion, adjusting his translation collar. "Finally, we'll see the Krillians in the top 5. The rankings began to scroll upward on the massive screen. Position 50, the Dolvari, masters of crystalline technology. Position 40, the Remnith, with their collective consciousness. Zixta watched with growing anticipation as familiar names appeared. The Autorians at 23, the Seraphim Collective at 18. Then the top 10 appeared. Zixta's 4 eyes widened progressively as he read each entry. The Karate Warrior race at number 7, the Ancient Precursors at number 4, and then, at position 1, a name that made his blood run cold. "Humans, this must be an error," he muttered, his translator struggling to keep pace with his rapid speech. "Humans, the newcomers. They've only been spacefaring for 200 cycles." But the data didn't lie. Zixta began scrolling through the detailed analysis, and with each paragraph, his certainty crumbled further. Halfway across the galaxy, aboard the research vessel Endeavour, Ansh checked the atmospheric readings for the 7th time that hour. The young human scientist had been stationed on this ship for 6 months, studying the peculiar radiation patterns near the Carina Nebula. Her dark hair was tied back in a practical bun, and her brown eyes reflected the glow of multiple monitors. "Ansh, you're going to wear out the sensors," called Zachary from the navigation station. The pilot had been her companion since Academy days back on Earth, and he knew her obsessive tendencies well. His easy smile was a constant in the sterile environment of the ship. "Something's off about these readings," she replied, not looking up. "The decay rate doesn't match any known model." "Maybe that's because it's actually a new phenomenon," Zachary suggested, spinning his chair to face her. "Novel discoveries do happen, you know." Before Ansh could respond, the communication array beeped urgently. A priority message from Galactic Academy headquarters. Zixta couldn't stop reading. The report detailed categories he'd never considered relevant to Apex. Status, adaptability. Humans scored a perfect 100/100s. The species had colonized environments ranging from frozen wastelands to scorching deserts on their home planet before even reaching space. They thrived in conditions that would kill most species within hours. Endurance, 98/100s. Humans possessed something called persistence hunting. They could literally chase prey until it died of exhaustion. No other species in the database had this capability. Their bodies could regulate temperature through a bizarre water secretion system, allowing them to operate in extreme heat while other species overheated and collapsed. Problem solving under pressure, 99/100ths. The report cited an incident where a human vessel's life support had failed. Instead of panicking, the crew had built a makeshift carbon dioxide scrubber using nothing but duct tape, plastic bags, and a sock. They'd survived a sock-sick. Thor's scales rippled with disbelief. Pain tolerance, 97/100ths. Humans had something called adrenaline that allowed them to ignore catastrophic injuries during emergencies. There were documented cases of humans continuing to fight with multiple broken bones, severe lacerations, even missing limbs. Psychological resilience, 96/100ths. Humans called it spite. When told something was impossible, they seemed to take it as a personal challenge. The more desperate the situation, the more creative and determined they became. "We've been invited to present at the Academy," Ansh read aloud, her eyes scanning the message. "They want us to demonstrate human problem-solving capabilities." Zachary raised an eyebrow. "That's oddly specific. What brought this on?" "The new Apex rankings just dropped," Ansh continued reading. "Apparently, we're number 1, and the rest of the galaxy is ... skeptical." "Number 1, Zachary laughed. "Us. We can barely agree on trade policies within our own system, according to this. That's part of why we rank so high. Our competitive cooperation model is apparently unique." Ansh scrolled through the data. "We compete intensely with each other, which drives innovation, but we unite instantly against external threats." Zachary leaned back, considering. "I suppose we are kind of weird when you think about it. Remember that time the Endeavour lost main power near that asteroid field?" Ansh nodded. "We had 15 minutes of auxiliary power. Most species would have sent distress calls and waited for rescue. But instead, You calculated a gravitational slingshot trajectory using just the backup systems, and I manually piloted us through a field that our computers said was impossible to navigate, and we made it with 2 minutes to spare. Ange finished, a smile crossing her face. I guess that is pretty human of us. At the academy, Zixter attended the mandatory seminar on human capabilities and safety protocols. The lecture hall was packed. Humans are what we classify as Deathworld species, the instructor explained. Their planet has 5 major extinction events in its geological record, countless natural disasters, and predators that would terrify most of you. Humans evolved in an environment that was actively trying to kill them. But they're so, small, someone protested, and fragile. That's what makes them terrifying, the instructor replied. They're not built like the karate warriors. They're built to outlast warriors, to adapt, to solve problems, to never ever give up. Their planet taught them that survival isn't about being the strongest, it's about being the most stubborn. The screen showed footage of Ansh and Zachary approaching the stage for their presentation. Zixter watched as the 2 humans smiled warmly at the audience, seemingly unaware of how intimidating their species had become. Hello everyone, Ansh began. We're here to show you why humanity earned the top spot. But honestly, we think every species here has something that makes them apex in their own way. We just happen to be really good at not dying. The audience laughed nervously. Zachary grinned. Let us show you what humans do best. The impossible. Zixter settled in to watch, his scales shimmering with a mix of fear and fascination. Perhaps he thought it was time to be glad that humans were allies, not enemies.